Welcome to Raise Nation Radio, the podcast for nonprofit movers, shakers, and change makers. We are here to fuel your passion with a daily dose of fundraising inspiration while keeping the conversations and connections from the annual Raise Conference alive all year long. Tune in for fresh perspectives, bold strategies, and the hottest trends lighting up the nonprofit world. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, buckle up. Each episode is packed with lively discussions, expert insights, and creative solutions to help you make an even bigger impact. Now get ready for another exciting episode. Please welcome your host from OneCause, Dawn Lego.
Welcome back to Raise Nation Radio. We are so glad you're joining us today. And thank you so much for being a fan and making this show so popular. Now, whether you've been with us from the very start or you're tuning in for the first time, we love connecting with you on this channel. Today's episode promises to be special and a meaningful one, filled with just really great stories and conversations with our incredible guests. So get comfortable. And I am so pleased to introduce some of my colleagues here from OneCause. This is actually a OneCause tradition. We're wrapping up 2024, the end of the year, and we kind of take a look back at Raise Nation Radio and all the episodes that we've dropped. What are our favorites? What are the standout moments? And what really spoke to us so that you could maybe just get some highlights. So please join me in welcoming Stefanie, Patrick, Casey from OneCause Nation, my colleagues who are just going to introduce themselves, and then we're just going to have a fireside chat. So Stefanie, can we start with you? And then you could round robin to whoever's next or whoever you pick. And just please introduce yourself. Share what you do at OneCause, what you love most, maybe your why, and anything you'd like to share personally so we can get to know Stefanie Zachery.
Thank you, Dawn. I'm really excited to be back. So I've been at OneCause for 8 years now. I've worn many hats at the company, which is wonderful. You know, I've gotten to know our customers really, really well. I've gotten to work cross-functionally in collaborative environments. So I feel like I'm a lifer.
You are a lifer.
8 years, that's a long time. But right now I am working and focusing on our customer journey. So that has been very exciting to kind of just see everybody as they come in and use different softwares and different features and things that we offer. So it's been a really, really great ride so far, and I'm just excited to continue. My why at OneCause, my why always is my children. I think probably I didn't realize it until I had them, but I do everything for them. So it's just a really great environment for me to be flexible. Working for a tech company, you can work from home. There's sometimes you go into the office so you can see your peers, but being flexible and being able to do this and have my kids see what hard work looks like has just been number one. And I also think that nonprofits are the most amazing things on this planet. Like, nobody does what nonprofits do. Our customers are absolutely the most amazing, brave, and courageous people that I know. So it's just an honor to serve them.
That's so sweet, Stefanie. I totally get the why, right? We are a family first company, right? Our executive team prioritizes family, so it does give us that work-life balance,
Yeah.
so that we could make our children the center of our universe. So that's really sweet. Okay, who are you passing the baton to?
For Patrick.
Go ahead, Patrick.
All right. Well, thanks, Stefanie, and thanks, Dawn, for having me on this episode. My name is Patrick Irish, and I am a senior customer success manager here at OneCause. I've been here for 6.5 years, and I think my why is just kind of multifaceted. Obviously, I have 2 kids as well and a wife, so family is definitely a big part of my why. But also being able to have a hand in the success of our nonprofit partners definitely fills my cup, so to say. When I speak to a customer after an event and they say, we've raised more money this year than last year. Those are things that, being able to come to work, earn a living, but also that living is helping others raise money for good. I don't know a better place to be in a position to be in. So that's kind of what I think about, why I'm here is definitely my customers.
Aw, I love hearing that. That's so sweet. Casey, bring us home.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. My name's Casey Murphy. I am working as a customer success manager here at OneCause. Me and Patrick are doing really similar stuff, and I think my why is very related to kind of my history and how I came to OneCause. Is that my background is in nonprofits. I spent over 13 years in the nonprofit space before coming to OneCause, doing events and fundraising. And, I always wanted a job where I was doing more than just earning a paycheck, that it meant something. I fell in love with the OneCause software. It really helped me as a fundraiser. And so I was really excited to kind of cross over to the OneCause side where I could help even more people raise money for their missions. And I just feel really fulfilled supporting the incredible work of so many nonprofit professionals that we work with on a daily basis.
Wow. I am definitely hearing a theme. Casey, how long have you been with OneCause?
I actually just celebrated my 3rd anniversary a couple months ago. So
Happy anniversary. All right, I have to do
Thank
some
you.
math. Now, that's not my strong suit. But between the four of us, we actually have, I got to carry the one. 28. We have 31 collective years of experience here at OneCause, just between the four of us. But I'm certainly hearing a theme about servant leadership, right? And I'm being drawn to the higher purpose. And if you are familiar with our CEO, Steve Johns, and his book, Fearless, he writes a lot about that. His calling to OneCause was searching for that higher purpose. And we all said the same thing, pretty much, prioritizing, our families and being part of the greater good, right? Not just collecting a paycheck, but doing work that's just so rewarding. We know that we're helping nonprofits grow their impact with the innovation that we put out every day, and helping them navigate that is just really special to us. So it speaks to our core values, and all three of you just are living proof of our core values and what the culture is here at OneCause. So thank you for your leadership and everything that you do here. So, all right, we're going to get into it. This is a special episode. We do it every year. We often we go from department to department. So this year, you guys are stuck with me to do like a sweet endings, year in review type kind of thing. What are our favorite Raise Nation Radio moments? So yeah, let's get into it. So we've done a lot at Raise Nation Radio. We do drop a new episode every Thursday, and we've had thought leaders. We've had a lot of our nonprofit customers. We've had OneCause Nation, right? It's just been an incredible year. We did our Turned Up Raise series where we broadcast live from the Raise studio in Nashville, Tennessee, which was super exciting. We did a 6-part series there. So let's just go for the big question. What stands out as your personal favorite episode of Raise Nation Radio from 2024? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, so I chose, it was episode number 122, which was Impact Unveiled, Navigating the Art of Nonprofit Storytelling, with Jean-Marc Vanderpool, who was the guest that you spoke with. And it got me thinking about just this aspect of being able to communicate the nonprofits why for what they are doing and why they are raising money, to make the supporters understand how much of an impact they're actually having when they come to an event, or if they make a donation, or any kind of supporting of that cause. And just how he drilled down into the data of what a nonprofit can do, and then how they can then translate that data into a story that is compelling and wants to make that supporter maybe give a bit more than they were thinking about giving, because they understand really how far their impact is going.
Yeah, well, storytelling is the heartbeat of, the nonprofit's existence. So we do a lot of helping our customers, share their story through their events and their fundraising. Stefanie, Casey, anything about episode 122 and storytelling that you kind of want to underscore what Patrick just said?
Well, if you want an example, there was one nonprofit that really stood out to me. I don't know if we want to go there right now, but They told an amazing story, and I was literally crying when
Tell us. No, yeah, let's go there. That's what this is all about. Go ahead. What's
Well,
that?
I mean, I can also talk about my favorite, but this was the best like storytelling episode in my opinion. It was I think it was episode 135, Shared Planet. This is the
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah. So, I'm a huge fan of saving the trees and the forest. Like, I'm that person. So we actually back up to forests at our house, like everything. I don't know. I'm just very much into that. So I thought, well, I'll just listen to this and just get on board with whatever she's got. And she told two amazing stories that as soon as the episode was over, I'm following them on Instagram. I found them on LinkedIn and I'm like, how can I help them? So, and I cried. So those three things, I think if you haven't heard this episode, everybody should listen to it. I'm not going to give away too much, but they're volunteers. She's the founder of the company and she doesn't get paid. She still works a full-time job and she does this because it's her passion. But she tells an amazing story of a rescue and
Come on, we have to. We're teasing far too much. It's an elephant rescue, right?
oh, I heard it was it's a rhinoceros, right?
Oh, was it a rhinoceros? Well, it's a big animal, and when you see that animal dangling from the clouds in the sky and know that it's on its way to safety,
Yeah.
do you not want to cry? I cried right along with you, Stephanie. That was just
Well, and all the
unbelievable.
work that goes into it, like they had to get a helicopter that had this certain thing that would actually pick up the mom and the baby, and they were stranded for,
Yep.
I'm sorry. I totally thought it was a rhinoceros. If it's an elephant, I apologize.
No, it could be. It could be. I just remember the magnitude of that
Yeah, it was
species hanging in the
huge.
air. Yeah.
Yeah, huge story. The way that she the thoughtfulness that goes into all of this, the funding that is needed to go into this, to get this particular pilot and this particular equipment. It's just amazing. Also, the second thing that really, really got me is how much they're trying to also help the next generation. So it is about wildlife, but they also are helping children in Uganda so that they can go to school. Again, this episode will do much better than my storytelling, but they're helping them because in hopes of them graduating and helping also the animals in their area, the wildlife that's there, because there's so much wildlife that is not doing.
Endangered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate that word, but yes, it's so sad, so sad. But anyway, that storytelling, she is phenomenal at it. And it just really, really got me.
Yeah. Wow. I know. I remember I did the same thing. I went to their website after that episode, and I just remember that huge animal suspended from air with all of the clouds. You almost hanging on every second of that video. It was incredible.
Mhm.
Anything else speak out to anyone in this group about storytelling, how it came to life on Raise Nation Radio, or maybe something that wasn't on Raise Nation Radio but underscores the storytelling that Patrick was drawn to?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think my favorite episode was similar. It was a different episode. It was episode 119 on rebuilding donor trust with Nicholas Kristoff. And
Nicholas, our friend there, he's such a wonderful
Exactly.
guy.
It's a great episode, and it sort of takes the storytelling aspect, and then we're looking at the challenges around how we're getting that message out. Because we can tell a great story, but if we can't get it out to the right donors at the right time, we don't have anyone who's receiving it, right? So it's really related, and it's about, how are we using our data? How are we using technology to focus on getting information moving, and then using our personal touches to really build relationship and reinforce that storytelling we're doing, and making sure we understand the journey of our donors, and I think maximizing our communications and our outreach to be more personalized and make sure we're telling the right parts of our stories at the right time to the right people. And I thought that was really impactful of thinking about, being strategic about how we share certain types of messaging, how we share certain parts of the story.
Yeah, Nicholas Kristock is a master at that. He was recently on a webinar, and I believe that in his nonprofit, Fleece and Thank You, they never, ever send any type of mass email. Never. It's always segmented, it's always personalized, and he tries to deliver the right message at the right time. He really is a master, so I'm not surprised that spoke to you. We do a lot of storytelling though in our products. Who has familiarity with how stories come to life, and how do we marry that? How do we marry the story to the OneCause technology? Because technology doesn't really sound or sing storytelling, but yet it does, right? Like we have ways to fit that in there. You guys know better than me. Who wants to take that hard question? Sorry, I put you all on the spot.
Yeah.
You want to go
Oh, so real quick. So I think easy way to tell a brief story is using impact statements when you set up your fundraising page. To be able to tell a donor, $1,000 donation is going to cover 10 scholarships for kids for summer camps for one summer. Like being able to put something tangible tells a very quick story of at least as far as how far a donation will go. But then obviously, if you have a fundraising page or if you have your event page set up, you have plenty of space to tell a brief story with text, or if you even just produce a quick video or even take, it doesn't have to be professionally done. It could be something that is just holding your phone up as if you're just taking a selfie video and just briefly telling how powerful the organization is and what exactly it does. It can go a long way. I think authenticity, will really shine through with something as simple as just a quick 1 minute or 30-second video.
Yeah, I think authenticity is better than a polished, perfectly produced video, right? I mean, we're all humans and we're just trying to make that human connection. So I think it's important to not overproduce for sure. But you were going to say something, Stephanie?
Yeah. Well, I love what Patrick was saying about the impact levels, little bite-sized stories. I think that's a huge impact. But I also wanted to add to that, we have a page called the story page. And I think that is it's the landing page, the welcome page. You can, rebrand it to whatever you want, but we want you to tell your story. So at the top of the page, we have a carousel of slides that you can show. I always love to recommend, like, share pictures from last year. Show people themselves. Like, they love to see themselves, but they also love to see the people they know having fun. Really use that space to tell your story and also include your supporters. And then right below that, just like Patrick was saying, you can embed videos. It could be the CEO telling the why that they have. You can also add text about what your mission is. So that story page to me is all encompassing
Everything. Yeah.
of your story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up, Stephanie, because that's where my brain went to. The product is so customizable. So you can make your page exactly what you need it to be to show your impact. You can include some of that data that Patrick was talking about, qualitative and quantitative data, to let your supporters know how their donations or their participation makes an impact. You can embed the videos, you can do the photos. It is so customizable, and you can decide what's the most important and put it where you want. It's, so templated that you can't make it what you want it to be. It's really customizable, and I think that's great. And then from a practical standpoint, the OneCause fundraising platform has incorporated a lot of new analytics and stuff that make your data easy to view and to figure out, so that maybe following up from a campaign or an event, how to do the follow-up, how to reach out, what's, going back to that right message at the right time. It's making it easier for nonprofit professionals to utilize their data, analyze that data without having to invest so much time, because we know so many nonprofit professionals, they're wearing 10 hats, they're doing all the things, and making it easier and faster for them to be able to figure out how to make the most impact I think is also a really, really great feature that this software has been helping with.
Yeah, it's a journey, right? And we're all people and we're taking our donors on a journey. So we want to think about being transformational and not transactional. So thanks for taking us there, because storytelling is so important and we want to be part. We want our innovation to be part of the storytelling. So thank you, Patrick, for leading us with storytelling. But what's some of our other favorites? We dropped almost 50 something episodes, if not more. So who has another one that we want to chat about?
I'd love to talk about episode 152 a little bit. That was the most audacious woman in the room with
Shauna. Yeah.
Exactly, with Shauna. So, she was talking a lot about her personal story because she has written a book, is an incredible, piece of, I think, to be encouraging to tell her story. And I think that, while her story specifically might not be something that everyone can identify, we haven't all gone through that. I was really struck by how, her talking about this audacious optimism is so vital to those in the nonprofit space. The idea of finding inner strength and envisioning the impossible really resonated with me as a former fundraiser. But I think the idea of that optimism is a choice and this like intentional daily practice was something that felt really impactful, maybe something that really could be, paradigm shifting for some of our nonprofit professionals. It's an industry where often we feel really encouraged when great things happen, but it can be hard. And a lot of, our nonprofit professionals are kind of on the front lines of facing down difficult or hard things and coming up with solutions or coming up with ways to help or coming up with, all of these things. And I think that the idea that this choice to find ways to be optimistic in the midst of all of that is really a practice in not only self-care in our own, mental health and that kind of stuff, but also the way that impacts those around us, those that we work with, the beneficiaries of the nonprofit work. And I think, it's this idea that can really be something that motivates and invigorates and encourages nonprofit leaders, as they're doing their work and as they're taking care of themselves, and a practice that could really be something that improves, not just their work, but also their lives.
Yeah, she's so inspirational. Patrick, Stephanie, do you choose audacious optimism every day?
Yeah.
Try to. I loved that episode too, Casey. I had the pleasure of meeting Shauna a couple of years ago and actually visiting with her. She truly embodies what she's talking about. This woman is
She's
always
the real deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. She's not just telling you what to do. She does it. And I mean, like Casey said, she tells her story and you're just like, oh my goodness. Like she fought for herself hard, but it also helps. I think everybody should, obviously, I think everybody should listen to the episode, but it really it makes you want to fight harder. The way that she positions it and talks about it, you're like, first of all, I want more optimism in my life. But I also want to be able to fight for myself in the way that she did, or fight for my nonprofit in the way that she did. So it was such a good episode, Casey. I'm glad you brought it up. One of the quotes that stuck with me, she said, "It's not I feel optimistic. Optimism is a choice." So I actually ruminated on that for a while. I mean, I listened to this a while ago, and I'm still thinking about it. So I was like, "You're right," because we do often think that it's a feeling and we need to feel it. And if we don't feel it, then we just aren't it. And what she's saying is wake up and you are choosing it. It empowers you when you choose optimism. And the other thing she said was it defines your journey. So you wake up and you're like, today's going to be a great day. And the other thing I've started using in my life with my kids is when they're having a bad moment, it is not a bad day. So we rewind. So
Oh, I love that. I do that with Alyssa and Michael all the time. We actually do, like, we pretend we're doing crumbling up newspaper. We're like, okay, this is a bad moment. Let's crumble up the newspaper, pretend to throw it out the window, and we'll physically do that, throw it out the window and take a breath and let's keep going into, because positivity is a choice.
you're right. And you're totally doing that. You're choosing the optimistic route with your kiddos. And I think it's just going to help them and I rewind, so we don't have newspaper.
We have air newspaper. It's not really. It's no. It's like air guitar. It's air newspaper. But my daughter is an adult now. Alyssa's 22.
Yeah.
Or is she going to be 22? She's going to kill me that I don't know that. Anyway, she's an adult now, and we'll still do that. Like if I'm on the phone with her and something is hitting us up that's, less than positive, I'll be like, all right, crumble the newspaper, throw it out the window. So it's carried into her adult life, which
I love
is
it. Because you can be optimistic, you can choose optimism, but it doesn't mean that every moment is joyful.
Yeah, well,
you have to acknowledge that. And that's why it's not the day that's bad. It's the moment. And we broke our day into 3. And so we have a morning, an afternoon, and an evening. And so maybe your morning was bad, but how was the other 2 pieces of your day? So I loved that episode. I already had been doing some of this, and then I've now added more things to our optimistic journey in my family. It was such a great episode.
It was. Yeah, she's a beautiful person. Well, I think we've talked about some of this already, but I'm going to push you guys for a little bit more. Anything from any other guest or episode that was particularly moving or transformational that you want our nonprofit leaders to hear? So Shauna is an example of that, but what else resonated out of all the episodes that were dropped in 2024? Transformational or moving?
Into also episode 137. I'm pretty sure that's the one about the neglect and abuse children. I don't remember the name of it. See, I did this a long time ago, Doc.
That's okay.
Follower of Raise Nation Radio. But I remember this one because I have a lot of friends that foster. And so
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
to just kind of hear their mission and their story. And there's a lot of things out there, right? There's a lot of help in different things out there. But I really liked her perspective. I can't remember, everybody's name or anything from the.
Well, that's why we're going to go back and listen to them. Well,
good. I hope so. 7.
There you go.
But one thing that she said that it starts in utero, and every move is a new trauma for them. And, you already know that these kids are not with their family. They're not with their mom or their dad for good reason, right? But maybe they move into foster care. Maybe they move to a grandparent's house, but that doesn't work out. And maybe but they're having all these traumas revisited over and over again. And we just, the help to be able to be amazing citizens. I don't know. It really resonated with me. They work really hard to ensure that the foster families are trauma informed, which I don't think that all foster families get that. And, they go through training, but like, do they all know about trauma informed and all the different pieces that go in with that? I'm not really sure, but it does make me want to talk to my friends that foster, because there's so much we can do for those families. And when we support the families, we're able to provide more help and more support for kiddos in foster care. So I just love the whole circle of it all, and how that how we can help each other until they get into their permanent homes.
Because we have that duty as a community, right? I mean, children should be loved and structured and disciplined and safe. And, it's very disheartening to hear otherwise, right? That, a young soul would wake up in the morning not feeling loved, and then on top of it not feeling safe, right? That's just, I can't imagine.
Right. And I do love how they go above and beyond. They, like I said, they give them training, so they're trauma-informed training, but they also go to court with all of their kiddos. Like all the caseworkers actually go to court with them, because people, they don't know what questions to ask or what is going to be on the dock. I don't know how all that works. I've never been to court. Hallelujah. But just the fact that they go above and beyond with their nonprofit just really spoke to me. And I hope more people listen to it so that they can implement more things if they also have a similar nonprofit. The more we can equip the foster families, the more foster families there will be.
Yeah. Yeah. That always strikes a chord with me. Any child that feels a little lost is I feel like the community has that responsibility. I'm going to share a couple of my favorites. I always enjoy when all of you come on, the show, because we're tired of hearing my voice all the time. I had episode 144, which was Impacting Littles. Allison Tharp and Ryan Love came on the show, and we're such good. We have such a good partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters. They were the recipient of Indie Tech Gives this year, and Deb Barge from Big Brothers Big Sisters was one of our keynotes at the Raise conference. And there's just such an amazing organization for us to serve. But to hear from Allison and Ryan how they've been impacted personally about mentorship and how they've been mentees and mentors really struck a chord with me, because we have so much of that here at OneCause, just being mentors to each other and, of course, taking inspiration from Big Brothers Big Sisters. So where are you all on that whole mentoring and Big Brothers Big Sisters inspiration? I don't expect that you listened to that episode, because I know I asked you to do a lot. Listen to a whole year's worth of episodes and pick your favorite. But how does mentoring resonate with each of you?
I feel like mentorship. I feel like mentorship is so important. It's really critical. I have been the recipient of mentorship in my life and in school and early on in my career. And, I had the opportunity to do some mentoring students in some of my nonprofit roles before coming to OneCause. And I think, what's so impactful about it, I think, is having been on both sides of it, that, I received a huge benefit as someone being mentored. But I think I maybe received even more benefit being a mentor and learning so much from the students who I worked with and the things that I was able to do in that role. It's really such a blessing to be able to do stuff like that.
We definitely have a culture of mentorship. I mean, there's so many people at OneCause who have shaped me to be the woman that I am, the three of you. And then I think of people like Stephanie Ragazzino and Carrie Wozniak and Steve Johns and Emily Newberry, all people that I admire just so much. And I take a little bit of them and try to mold it into, the best version of me, or the person that I want to be. So I like our culture of mentorship here, and, just what it does for each of us to make us the best versions of ourselves. So that was a good episode for me. The other one I'm going to share is episode 160. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to that, because it was a more recent episode, Two Hearts, with Karen Wojcik and her mom, Liz Trinkle, for breast cancer awareness. I couldn't get through the episode. There was just something made me ask them, so, Liz, what are you most, it sounded like a good question when it was in my mind, but when it came out, I was like, Liz, so what are you most proud, about when you think of Karen? And Karen, what are you most proud about when you think of your mom? Well, when you just say it like that, it sounds like it's not an emotional question. Well, we couldn't even get through the answers, because I think Karen went first, and she was just so beautiful and paying homage to her mom. And her mom is a survivor of breast cancer. And then we asked Liz to speak after that, and she actually came out and said, I don't think I can speak. So it's just, nice. Like, we're real people here at OneCause, and we go through the same trials and tribulations. And I think that the rest of the world does. And I think that's why it's so important for us to support and be a servant leader to the nonprofits that we serve, because we know that they're building better tomorrows, as cliche as that sounds, that it's affecting our lives every day with what we're going through. And so that was a really special episode, and prayers and congratulations, if that's the word that you use, to Liz for being cancer free. And I'm so happy for their family. So that really resonated with me. Were there any other moments that were very poignant or impactful to either of you that we want to make sure that we get in this review?
Yeah. And so in my episode I was referencing earlier, this kind of touches on something that I didn't think about, and John Mark put it really well, is, nonprofits exist to solve problems that businesses don't. And it's a world where, they are raising money for people who they don't directly maybe serve. Maybe it's an indirect, and folks are giving money to people they don't directly see. And so like it's such an interesting idea, the world that we are all living in with nonprofits, because there's so many organizations that do so much good. Without them, without nonprofit organizations, I don't know what, this world would be. And so when he said that, I'm like, yeah, that's so true. Like they are solving so much in the way of, curing diseases or advocacy for underserved, population. I don't know. It was such a, I mean, the work they do is just, the nonprofits do is so great. And I wish I could be more eloquent in saying that, but that kind of knocked me off my feet when I heard that phrase.
Yeah. And I know we had another breast cancer episode that spoke to you, Patrick, just a really grassroots initiative with the Shulak Breast Fest and the Shulak family. Yeah,
Yes.
that was another one. I mean, built on storytelling for sure. You want to talk about that one?
Yeah, certainly. That one was fantastic because it kind of spoke to a few key things that may be overlooked when you're thinking about fundraising, and that is brand recognition. So they do the Breast Fest every year. So it's just, when you do something for so long, it just becomes ingrained in people's mind of automatically, when I hear that, I know exactly who that nonprofit is. And they mentioned how they've been doing it for so long that they had to think of unique ways to number their festivals. And so it's being centered around music. They had like the Bronze Festival for 5 years. I think it was a Silver for 10 and Platinum for 15. So incorporating, the theme of music into their festivals was, I thought one other thing that stood out was like, everybody knows someone was a quote that the gal said. And as thinking about word of mouth, like everyone knows someone, who has been impacted, whether it be breast cancer, any type of, disease. And the fact that someone could say, oh, I'm going to Breast Fest next weekend. Like, let's say that just
It
could be
just
so
rolls off the
impactful.
tongue.
Yeah. And it's like, I would love to support this event that, is working in this particular area. So, that just a few things that just kind of spoke to me with that episode.
Yeah, I was in awe listening to them. That family really had this major concert in their backyard before their mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was like, who does that? I
Yeah.
kept asking them over and over again, you did what? I'm lucky if I get hot dogs and hamburgers out by the pool, but they have a full-on concert. So,
Yeah.
kudos to them for it's interesting how we all went to the storytelling. Patrick, you couldn't have led us off any better with the whole nonprofit storytelling, but there were some movement that also, and moments that really would impact leaders in 2025. So we bring thought leaders on the show. Sometimes it's an educational piece too. And how about the DAF Decoded? I mean, like DAF fundraising, you never heard of it before. And now we have DAF Day and everybody's daffing. And have you daffed yet? And, it's like, it's a thing. So I think that's going to be very impactful in 2025. What resonated with you there,
Absolutely.
Cassie?
Yeah,
Casey?
I just absolutely loved that episode. I think for those who didn't listen, that's episode 125, and Mitch Stein on, and he just shared some statistics that I think as a fundraiser were absolutely mind-blowing. He shared, I think he said over $230 billion sitting in DAF funds. Billion with a B.
Billion with a B. Didn't I say that in the episode
I think
too?
you
I was
might have.
like, was that with a, million or B with a billion? I didn't quite catch you, Mitch. Yeah, I'm sorry, Casey. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's just mind-blowing to think about that all of that money has been earmarked for donations to 501c3 nonprofits. It's the understanding kind of the intricacies of the donor advised fund is something Mitch goes through, that it's a benefit to your donors. They create these because they get to put money in there. They receive the tax benefits right away. And then that money is earmarked for donations that they can give out anytime. And so that money is just sitting, waiting for someone to ask for it, essentially. He really zeroes in on, we only get what we ask for, and understanding those accounts and learning who might have a donor advised fund that's already maybe supporting your organization, but they're not using their donor advised fund, or, figuring out strategy around donor advised fund, I feel like could be a real game changer for the nonprofit leaders who, are trying to figure out their fundraising plans. We've got plans for foundation grants and major giving and individual giving. And his point was really that understanding donor advised funds is so critical so that we can build strategy around how to make the most of all of this money that's, sitting earmarked for nonprofits, but hasn't been donated yet. And, really seeing an increase in the donor advised funds too. I think that's the thing, is looking forward to 2025 and beyond, the growth in the donor advised funds. I think, I'm thinking the stat was that around 3 million people currently have access to the donor advised fund, and that number has increased by like 500% in the past 7 years. And so they're
Crazy.
seeing huge growth in that area, figuring out as a nonprofit leader now how to make the most of zeroing in on and creating a strategy for donor advised funds feels really critical to, looking forward and figuring out fundraising plans for the future.
Yeah, I know daffing and did you daff and how are you daffing is definitely going to be, 2025 for sure, 230 billion. But what the good thing is that there is legislation right now about, making these distributions mandatory within a certain time period. And of course, Mitch Stein is with Chariot, and he makes it easy for people to daff, right? So gosh, I'm just getting used to Google Pay and Apple Pay. Now I've got Daft Pay. Yeah, it's getting a little crazy here, but thank goodness we have companies like OneCause that's going to keep us up to date with all this innovation. This has been so much fun. I loved taking a trip down memory lane with all of you and just reliving some of these episodes. Any tips for me for 2025? Like, what do you think the show should? Let's shape the show now. I don't have a good strategy built out, but what do you think we should do more of or less of, or who should we get as guests, or what are you thinking to make this show real exciting? Anyone have any tips here?
Well, I will say that you have done a phenomenal job, Dawn.
Aw, thank
Your
you.
years have been amazing. This has opened up a whole new world, Raise Nation Radio. I think that keep doing the good work, the hard work, keep doing what you're doing. I absolutely love when we showcase nonprofits that pull at your heartstrings, make you cry. So just hitting all those areas, having
The hot buttons.
but
We don't
all
like to cry, but we like our heart to be warmed, I think. Yeah.
right. I mean, happy cry.
Happy cry. Yeah.
The other thing too that I think is so helpful is offering those tools. Like you were just talking about how Mitch helps with staff. If we can help other nonprofits and spread that even further and, have the reach even further. So I love that you offer other companies that can offer some tools to help raise more money for good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't do it without all of you. You're my inspiration, and you help make this show, what it is. I'm just like the hello and goodbye girl voice kind of thing. So it's all of you, and it's all of OneCause Nation that's made Raise Nation Radio what it is. And of course, our wonderful audience. So I'm going to get a little sappy on you guys. I don't know if you're prepared, but hopefully, you won't hate on me for this. Let's do our like holiday card, from each of us to our wonderful audience out there. What wishes do you want to give them for the holiday season? It's a tough time of year for nonprofits. They got Giving Tuesday and Thanksgiving and end of year giving, and then they roll into the new year and lapsed donors and event season. They just got so much on their mind. So let's give them a little cheer, and each of us will close out with like a little bit of a holiday greeting. Boy, guys, I put you on the spot. I know you're gonna take away nectar points from me for this instead of giving them to me. But who wants to go first with their holiday greeting?
Well, I think that, when it comes to the holidays, I just hope for, gratitude for you guys. And, whether that is personally, it's professionally, it's sharing gratitude with your donors. I think, it's a crazy and a hectic season, but in the same way that we talked about choosing optimism, if we can choose, gratitude during the holiday season, I think it'll make it that much more magical and special, both professionally and personally. So my wish for our listeners and for their donors and supporters is really just a spirit and a season of gratitude.
Beautiful, Casey. All right, Patrick, you're next. And Steffi, you're going to
That
bring
was,
us home.
yeah, Casey,
I know, hard to follow.
that was, yeah. That was really good advice. And I kind of echo that too. Your audience has, bad news surrounded by them all the time. And for you to be the positive light and to let them know that, what they're doing is making a meaningful impact, on the community that you're serving, is the best you can do it. And, those folks are, invested in you as a nonprofit. And so, just continuing to talk about the stories of transformation that their dollars are helping with, will really, I think, take you into 2025, and recapping your year, letting them know, what all they've done this year, what all you've done this year, I think is a fantastic way to start the new year. So best of luck and, happy holidays from us here at OneCause.
All right, Stephanie, bring us home.
Thanks, Dawn. And yes, well, I think about this every year as we enter the season of giving. I'm going to use air quotes because this is supposed to be the season of giving, right? We've got give gifts and Giving Tuesday, and we really enter into this mindset that this is the most giving time of the year. But it's also hard because if you're a nonprofit, all the other nonprofits are also asking the same thing, doing the same thing. So it can be harder, even though it is the most giving time of the year. So my thoughts on that are you're doing the hard work. Absolutely. You're doing the work that others are not doing. So keep your head up, lead with your heart, and keep that audacious optimism going. I'm just absolutely in awe of the bravery and respect that each of you deserve. So thank you for everything that you do, and have happy holidays.
Oh, that was beautiful. Stephanie, Patrick, Casey, I'm so grateful to each of you for making this a really special episode, taking a walk down memory lane with us and bringing us into 2025 to our audience. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We hope you enjoyed this special episode, and we hope you feel how much you mean to all of us here at OneCause Nation. Fearless Fundraisers, that's a wrap for today. A heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their stories, insights, and expertise. And to you, our fantastic audience, for everything you do to build brighter tomorrows in our communities. We hope today's content inspires you to amplify your mission and grow your impact. Don't forget to join us for new episodes every Thursday, wherever you listen to your podcasts, or catch us on YouTube and on demand at onecause.com. Before we go, we'd love your help in growing this podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, follow, and subscribe to Raise Nation Radio. Share it with a friend, and please leave us a review so we can continue delivering content that inspires and empowers. Raise Nation Radio is produced in partnership with OneCause, your go-to for digital fundraising solutions that connect nonprofits with their donors and drive results. Visit onecause.com or scan the QR code to schedule a one-to-one with their fundraising experts and explore the latest tools and innovations to help you reach more and raise more. Plus, be sure to check out their extensive catalog of free resources to support your mission. All the links are in the show notes. Raise Nation Radio is inspired by the annual Raise Conference, presented by OneCause. We'd love to see you in person at the next Raise event in September. It's a 2-day experience featuring over 35 CFRE accredited sessions, dynamic speakers, and the latest innovations from our sponsor pavilion, and priceless networking opportunities. And while you're there, don't miss the Fearless Fundraiser Party, It's where memories are made and lifelong friendships are formed. Secure your spot today at onecause.com/raise. The link is also in the show notes. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. And as always, stay fearless.